What does a National 4R Advocate winner do when the corn is tasseling and the beans are about to flower? Well, Alan Madison, 2013 national winner, digs a trench by his machine shed and invites a busload of Australian farmers and their wives over for a lecture on central Illinois soil properties.
That's what the kind of the yellow.
This is the Fertilizer Institute's 4R Field Report, on-farm nutrient stewardship information about how the right source, right time, right rate, and right place interact with issues facing everyone. The Australian guests were participating in a month-long travel and study tour of Canada and U.S. agriculture. Alan, with visual aid support from AgView Co-op and fresh-baked cookies from wife Janice, reached out with Midwestern hospitality and details of the Walnut, Illinois farming operation.
Inside of here there's a tickler brush that knocks off the extra seed and the cutoff brush that cuts the air off and the seed drops.
The guests were grain and cotton farmers from the eastern states of Australia, from Victoria through New South Wales and central Queensland. What does a 4R advocate do when facing a group like this? He advocates the 4 R's.
We like the side dress, and that's kind of gets us into this 4R program where we're doing it at the right source, the right time, the right rate, and the right place. So we're kind of spoon feeding with nitrogen. We put some on with the phosphorus. You're going to get some with DAP, diammonium phosphate. Then you're going to get some.
We caught up with some of the guests and asked them to compare their environmental challenges with what they've learned about Alan's.
We've got a lot of organisations like conservation farmers associations which are doing very much the same sort of thing as the 4R concept, and looking at the right rate. And I was very much. I understand Alan was a recipient of the 4R award a couple of years ago, and I was very impressed with the way he does his soil mapping and his approach to soil conservation and to correct nutrition of his crop, putting on the right amount of fertilizer at the right time, and monitoring it all the time.
To get some sort of common sense and practicality driving the sorts of legislative changes that we need. In principle, I think that's possibly, well, I don't think it's possibly, it is certainly the way that you need to approach the situation here. Now, how you get that message over, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about what's happening on the ground or how you might go about selling the message, but the message has got to be sold that farmers are here for the long haul. They want to hand their country over to their sons and their sons' sons. They don't want to destroy it, and they don't want to cause any sort of massive environmental disruption. And it's a ridiculous proposition that farmers are the land's worst enemy.
We want to remember the stewardship program, the 4 R's. We're trying to put it on the right source, the right time, the right rate, and the right place. And if we can manage those things so we don't have any excess runoff, because we have a concern about the water here, of course, runs off in the Illinois River, ends up in the Mississippi River, and ends up in the Gulf of Mexico, and we have a hypoxia problem in the Gulf of Mexico. Probably, I think it's over half of the United States drains down through the Mississippi River, and predominantly the Midwest Corn Belt is in Mississippi drainage area, and extensive cropping and extensive practices of applying nutrients, and so we don't want it to end up off the farm. We want it to stay in place.
What it all boils down to is farmers everywhere are concerned about preserving their land for the challenge of feeding an ever-increasing world population. If you'd like to know more about how to be nominated as a 4R advocate, visit nutrientstewardship.com. And who knows who might just visit your farm someday.